Peace and respect, everyone. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Get Buckets with Coach Gus Gauntlett and friends. I'm joined by Coach Howard Russell, who is a man who loves the game. He has been a coach and head of school at Vision Academy in New York City for 2 years, and also has a team called Love of the Game, which is AAU team for the past 7 years. Coach, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing pretty well.
Awesome. I was fortunate to get connected with you from a previous guest, Coach Mega, aka Arnell. A great guy, another guy who loves the game and really committed to helping young people both on the court and off the court. And I can tell that you definitely have that same energy and same care. So I appreciate everything you do for the game as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Definitely. So, this show, let's get right into it. So I'd love to see what you got. I know you coach a lot at the high school level. I'd love to see a play for you that you draw up to maybe use it before with your teams in different situations. Let's see what you got.
All right. So I'm going to use something called layer one. I usually don't run specific plays, but we have quick hitters set up in our system. Our system has 7 layers on the high school level. I've used this offense. It's kind of a read and react offense, but it's a lot of different mixtures into it. So if you get to and I haven't had a team honestly ever get to that point, it's actually 30 layers. The most I've ever gotten to is 7 because there's a lot of information, but the layers can be used against a man or a zone, and it allows us to basically run plays on the fly. If we see something, we can just run it and get the best look possible. So, and let me know if I get cut off. My service is okay right now, but you know how that is. So right now, I'm going to show you layer 1 against a 2-3 zone. So right now, we would come out in what I call a 14. So we would have 1 guy in. We have 4 guys out. We'll put our 2 best shooters on the strong side. It's called the strong side because we have more numbers there. We'll try to put our best athlete when to kind of track the defense is here. The ball will be swung here. The purpose of this is to force this lower guy to have to shoot out and play defense. If this kid gets a shot right away, he's allowed to take that shot. We call it college range. He's usually about 3 to 5 steps behind the 3-point line. And if he has a clear look, because his steal should be pretty good, there's nobody playing defense. He can take that shot. If this guy comes up and he attacks him, the balls automatically swing to the corner, and this guy gets to knock down freaking corner. So usually our 2 best shooters are put on this side to get a clean open shot. If this guy's athletic enough to get out there and cover here, the seal guy is already told to roll. So when he rolls, he usually has this guy on his hip. He'll force this guy to come down, and this guy will have already shifted to the corner, which allows him to come over to pick up the ball, and it gets a natural 2-on-1 at the basket. So any way we run it, whether we run it on the left side or on the right side, we get the advantage by forcing them to have to cover more people in a small amount of space. So it gives us a natural right here. In the beginning, it gives us a natural 3-on-2. If this guy's able to come up, it gives us a natural 2-on-1. If this guy rolls to the basket after the seal, it gives us another natural 2-on-1 on the opposite side. And the same exact layer, as I said, it's called layer 1, can be used against a 2-3 or 3-2.
I love it.
Here, he's the outlet guy. Just if everything falls apart, he gets high, gets the ball back, and we reset.
Copy. I like what you said about college range. You got that on that first pass to your first wing player there. You said, he's 2 or 3 feet behind the 3-point line, and if he's got that space, then he got the green light. I like that confidence and giving him that green light.
Yeah, so I'm really big on wide open shots. A shot that you don't take is a shot you'll never make. So if you're wide open and you have a good look, take the shot.
I love it. And so for your one post player there, potentially they would get, if they do roll, potentially they're getting an entry from one of either that first or that second wing is what you're saying.
Yeah. So typically this guy is called what you put in a tough spot. Most coaches teach this guy to cheat, so he'll probably be like right here so he can play both. So it puts him in a tough spot, but we want to force him to have to leave the paint. If we force him to leave the paint, it allows the roll to be a lot cleaner. So this guy then has the option of whether I'm going to pass it to the roller if I have a clean look, or I'm going to swing it to the wing because he has a better look. If the ball swings to the wing, this guy knows he either has to shoot it or throw a skip pass to the roller right away. So typically the pass would come from the corner, but if this guy is basically lost in limbo, this guy right here gets to roll right away and he should have a clean look. This guy on the opposite side, he's also kind of caught in limbo because he has to react to what he does. So if he doesn't leave, this guy's in the corner by himself all day. He can take as much time as he wants. Because now he put this guy in a situation where he's playing 2-on-1. We usually want to force this guy because 9 out of 10 times, especially on the high school level, the guy who's playing in the middle is a bigger guy. So we want to force him out of the paint. Because if he tries to get to that corner, once the ball is swung, there's no way for him to get back in time to contest the shot. So we're really putting them in a situation where it's typically going to always be a 2-on-1. If it's run properly, they don't have enough guys and amount of space to cover the ball and the guy off.
Copy. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. I imagine it's been successful in the past.
Yeah, we basically run it to get him out of his zone. So we'll run it 5 times back to back. Hopefully we get 3 or 4 makes off back to back. I've had games where we've had 4 threes back to back off of this, and they go into a man. We also have a layer 1 for man, and I'm a big believer every time you're in a half court, you should screen the ball, screen away or screen the ball. So the guy on defense should always feel somebody forcing him to have to fight over his screen, go underneath his screen. So I would say throughout the game, we screen about 50 plus times throughout the game in the half court. In the full court, we have what we call fast break offense. They kind of know what spots they have to get to in a fast break. But in the half court, you can always expect at least 2 to 3 screens before we actually take the shot.
Copy. I love it. Making that defense work, and it sounds also at the same time, along with having these set screens or really emphasizing screens in your offense. It sounds like, from the read and react methodology, ideology, it's a lot about just players reading the situation and making the right basketball play based on what they see as well. So a lot of freedom involved as well.
Yeah, it gives them a lot of freedom to make a decision and also make a mistake. It forces them to have to use basketball IQ. They have to understand situations, what's going to work best in the situation, who they're playing against. If you're playing against a really athletic team, you might want to run the same set 3 or 4 times in the shot clock to make them have to work to get to a spot. Because what happens usually is against athletic teams, they're going to cheat. They're going to go for the steal. They're going to play high. And that allows us to then move the ball to get the best shot possible.
Awesome. And that's a great one, Coach. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
All right. So, and also, I appreciate you representing for, showing against the zone. In season 2, mostly in season 1, it was all man-to-man defenses. So I appreciate you showing the zone look just to kind of keep the different looks going for our viewers, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. And like I said, that play can be ran against a 2-3 or a 3-2. It's most successful against, honestly, a 3-2, but you don't see many 3-2s in high school. But with that being said, I've used that same play. I would say I've been coaching as a head coach since I was 22, so going on 6 years, and it works 9 out of 10 times.
Love, those are the success rates that we like to hear. I'm definitely gonna keep that one in my back pocket. And anyone watching this, I hope that they get success from it also.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, and it sounds like even if the opposing coach, even if they knew if that play was coming, it sounds like it's still really, really difficult to try to really take away all the options if you really went through the entire play all the way through.
Yeah, so like the play itself starts with the seal. So that seal has to be a good seal. And typically, if you haven't seen a team shoot, you're going to go underneath, which is what we want. Because you give that kid basically a better shot than he would get if you came over the top. So that kid who's usually that first guy in the wing, he's usually our best shooter. That kid's allowed to shoot it 1,000 times in a game if he wants to. So we usually hope that you don't want to challenge that shot, because if we can get him going where he hits 2 or 3 of those, he might finish the game with 6. So we're really big on forcing them to have to play outside their comfort zone. A game where there's going to be a lot of shots put up, a lot of threes taken, and then really force those defenders have to get to their spots to play defense.
Love it. Love it, man. Beautiful, beautiful. Great work. All right. Well, I'm going to hop in. So this is a play that I have never run in a game or seen run in a game. So I would not just bring this play out of nowhere, like the first time in a game. I definitely want to bring this to practice first and see all the possibilities of it. It's kind of just something that came from my mind. So this is for an under the basket out of bounds play. I'm going to have my one take it out just because I tend to trust my one, or whoever my best passer is, most intelligent passer is. That's who I'm trusting with the ball under the rim at this point. I'm going to have my 2 out here, my 4 here, my 3 here, and my 5 here. It's kind of like a little similar like a 4 out type of set and read and react with one taking the ball out. Now the purpose of this play is to create confusion in the defense and create havoc, challenging them to be really, really good on communication. If they're going to switch, they better do it quick because there's a lot happening in a small amount of space. That's the good stuff. That's the good potential of this play, in my opinion. I think from the offensive perspective, one challenging part of this play and why it would be practiced like most plays to be run really, really well is that it is going to be a lot of movement in a small amount of space. So while it's good to not sometimes confuse the defense, that can also have the offense, if they're not really clear on what they're doing, that can have the offense either running into each other or both occupying the same space. But here's the general flow that I'm imagining, and then we'll take a look. So basically, on the ball slap, on the ball clap, on go, we're basically going to have all 4 players moving simultaneously. So what we have is we have 2 jumping across, running across the key to opposite corner. We got 4 going across the key to the block. We got 3 coming across the key to opposite corner. And then we have 5 coming to this block. So as you can tell, this area here in the center is where it's all going down. And like I said, there is potential for, I think, great confusion on the defense and also potential for just chaos on offense. So going back to what you mentioned in terms of read and react, I think this play at its peak is these 4 players knowing and reading the defense to see maybe who's hanging behind, who's dropping low, who maybe wants to switch, and then just finding those gaps and then being that player seeing that space and shooting to the open space on the floor. But the idea is that with all this action here, my hope is that with my 5 and my 4, the ones we dive into the blocks here, that their defenders, especially because, at least in my experience and my observation, when you have a big on defense, they're not going to be up on their man from the start. They'll probably be sagging a little bit, maybe free throw line, maybe touch higher. They're going to have a harder time dealing with transitioning from playing D out here, dealing with all this madness here, and then still trying to stick with their man as the 4 and the 5 dive low. So the way this ends up is the 3 is here in the corner, 5 is going to be here, 4 is going to be here, and 2 is going to be here. Another element of this play, potentially of this play, is that while this is one look, the 2 going from here to the corner, 3 to the corner, 4 and 5 to the blocks, that could be changed up. There could be different elements of this play, different alterations of this play, where maybe the 2 fakes like they're going to the corner, but then they actually dive here to where the 4 was going, and maybe the 4 ends up going to the corner. Same thing with the 3 and the 5. Maybe the 3 fakes corner, dives to the block, and 5, fakes to the block and dives wide. So I just think there's a lot of alterations that could happen from this play, but at the end of the day, the defense is going to be really, really communicative and really, really intelligent to work out all of this crisscrossing movement here to stay with everyone. So that's what I got. For now, I feel like I want to call it like milkshake or jumble or something like that, because I feel like there's a crazy blender right here in the middle. But that's my idea for now.
And you use that against a man or a zone?
I would use it against a man. Yeah, I think with the zone, who knows? I think it'd be a good thing to practice against both. I guess my thinking of it'd be more effective against a man is that, 4 individual defenders who are not just responsible for the space, like for a zone, but are responsible with staying with their offensive player. That's going to be a little bit more challenging for them to stick with them through all of that. Even if they all called switch, I think that it'd be pretty tough to stay with all 4.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, like I said, this is
Your one do.
Say it again.
What would you have your one do after they inbound the ball?
That's a great question. I think it really depends on where they went with it. So if let's say 5 was open and they dumped it, and maybe 5 recovered, 5 defender recovered, then I want to have the one clear out to the weak side, come out this way, maybe come off a screen from the 4 here. For me, I think that this type of play where it's generally a quick hitter. So if we don't get that bucket off the initial, then they're kicking out, and then we're going into a set. So if I have a set, ready to go, then we'll just go into that set, whether it be another going back out to 4 out or maybe 3 out, leaving 2 post players in. But in general, I think if the 1 enters it to the 5 or the 4, if they enter the 5, they're clearing out the weak side here. If the 4 is open, then the 1 will clear out to the weak side here. But that's a great question. Like, what does the continuation look like? And I feel like just in looking where people end up, because the 2 and the 3 end up outside of the 3-point line, 5 and the 4 end up in the box, I would have the 1 clear out of the 3-point line as well, and then run type of like a 3 out read and react type of set from there. So I definitely want to check this out in the practice first to see, is this play possible? Does it work out? What kind of havoc does it cause for the offense, the defense, or for the coach? But this was my brainchild yesterday, so I want to put it out there.
Quick question.
Yeah.
With the 4 guys on the outside, who's supposed to go first?
So I kind of like it simultaneous. And I think that's a great question. I mean, the idea is to cause as much confusion as possible. But you're right. I think that's kind of another element of the read and react where, let's say, if the 2 were to be if they all move at the same time and the 2 is maybe a quicker player, so they advance farther into the key, than the 4 or the 5, for example, then the 4 and the 5 are reading that and maybe waiting a beat, maybe actually accelerating, trying to meet the 2 there. But I think the general idea originally was that when the 1 slaps that ball from the out of bounds, everyone is moving simultaneously to cause as much confusion as possible in this, blender free throw line area.
And would you have them basically rub screen if it's available?
Yeah, so that's another element to it. Like I don't really want, at least on the most basic level, I'm not looking for players to like stop and set like a screen. I'm really just looking for, like, I think of it like football almost, and like a rub screen, or even just like even like a crossing pattern where you can't really hit someone because that'd be a moving screen, but you can just kind of get in their way just enough to slow them down for a second, so that the other player on your team can make that move into space. Yeah.
I definitely try to practice. It looks like it'll be.
I'm sorry, you cut out there for a second. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, I definitely tried in practice. It looks like something that could be real interesting, especially with an athletic team. I think that'll probably catch them off guard and get a quick basket.
Cool. Please, I'm definitely gonna stay in touch with you, because if you get into New Yorkers, y'all are practicing and playing like it's nothing, man. In Cali, basketball is shut down right now. So for me, I'm thinking about the fall. So if you practice it any time before then, I'll definitely be shouting you out and seeing how it looked.
I'll definitely try to get it on video.
My guy, much love, man. I appreciate you. So first off, I appreciate all the questions, all the feedback. I can tell, you're a student of the game, which is a beautiful thing, as well as being a teacher of the game. I guess my question for you is, what basketball coaches or what basketball coaching ideologies do you look up to? Like, who do you feel helped really shape you as a coach, and what makes a great coach to you?
Well, I'll say I'm a big Jim Boeheim fan. Not a lot of people aren't, but I'm a big Jim Boeheim fan. Rick Pitino, I've been a fan of his, even brought all the scandals. He's a great coach, just makes a lot of bad mistakes. With that being said, I think what makes a really good coach is a coach that cares. A lot of the top coaches, whether it's Calipari, just any of the top blue blood schools, those coaches are known for having more of a personal connection with their players versus anything else. So those players like Sean Williams, who played at Duke, he still talks to Coach K now, and that was 10, maybe 12 plus years ago. Him and Coach K still talk every day, you know? So with that being said, I think what makes a really good coach is somebody who's involved in their player's life during their playing experience and post after. Because at the end of the day, connections are what makes sports work, you know? I might know one person, you might know another person, and it becomes a small world. So I think having an overall effect on a person's life is more important than how you might develop them as a player. Most of the players I've been closest with since I started coaching, I still speak to now. Some of them have kids, some of them are getting married, and that's how you're getting old and start having kids and getting married. With that being said, I could be 60 years old and they always can give me a call. I'm always available. So I think what makes a good coach is somebody who kind of takes it to the next step. It's not just about the playing experience. It's not about being there while they're in high school or college, but being with them their entire lives.
That's love. Really appreciate those words. And I can tell, you know, I've never seen you in person coaching, but my gut tells me that you practice what you preach. And I'm sure a lot of young men are really, really grateful to have you in their life as a coach and as a supportive figure in their development. So I want to say thank you again for your work and good luck with the rest of your season. You said you all finish up in March, is that right?
Yeah, so we'll be going into the end of March. We typically finish around the middle, but with COVID, we're adding 2 more weeks to get some more games in, so guys can get some more film. And most prep schools, some are going to April this year just because they started late. Some schools started in January, so they'll be going from January to April.
Yeah.
So we have a decent amount of games left. We just want to get our guys film at this point. A lot of different things are going on with the transfer portal, and a lot of schools didn't play this year, so they're bringing back the entire teams. So as much film as you can get somewhere is better than not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, much love to you, Coach. Enjoy the rest of your season. Thanks for all your work, and definitely look forward to staying in touch with you. All right. Have a great day.